Rita with Everything Homemade, and this video is to show you how I homeschool my kids. And it is a really requested video, and I'm going to dive right in. I'm not going to change our routine today. I'm going to show you how I homeschool my 5 children and how I keep my 2-year-old toddler busy so we all can get what we need to get done and keep our sanity. But before we begin, I would like to mention that I'm also an author. I have a new series out that's called A Heart's Journey. Book 1, Heart's Cry, and Book 2, Heart's Courage. This is a series that has a compelling story to it. It's jam-packed with love, action, adventure, drama. This series is suitable for teens and adults. I love writing romance, and I want to make sure that you know that all my romance books have no smut in it. If you have teens that are looking for romance books, and if you're a parent that is like, I don't really know what to give my teen because I don't want all the garbage that is in a lot of romance books, then you may want to check mine out because they are clean and suitable for teens as well. I also want to mention that I have a short story in Little Bits. It's an anthology with many stories from Wing Publication authors, and it's an all genre anthology book. So my story in here is called Impeccable Timing, and it is a suspense story. A new book that I'm excited that just came out is called Handy Tips for Homeschooling Parents, and I also have a reflection in there, and I go into depth on my journey of how I became a homeschooling mom. So I'm not going to dive into that in particular here. You can read about my past and how I got into homeschooling. Well, in this particular video, I'm going to focus on how I homeschool my 5 children and my toddler. This book is a collaboration of winged authors like myself. We all got together and put a submission in on our journey of homeschooling. So you get a rounded perspective, not just mine, not just one other person, but a group of people, because we all homeschool differently, we all think about things differently, and we all struggle in different areas. So you get to read our perspective, and our hope is that it helps you through this very stressful time. All the links to the books are in the description box below, and they are all available on Amazon.com and Amazon.ca. So let's dive into how I homeschool my 5 children and how to keep my toddler busy. So the first thing you need to understand before I dive into how I homeschool is just a little bit of how our household works, what needs to get done, because one of the number one questions I get is, how do you school your children and get anything done? How do you incorporate the chores, the baking, the YouTube videos, the writing, the marking, and everything else that I do, and still successfully homeschool my children? And in the background, if you hear balls flying or anything, you see her little head, Meadow, my 2-year-old, is all around the living room. So the very first priority of the day is getting the animals fed outside and getting the animals fed inside, and then making breakfast for everybody. So this means that myself, Orion, who is 13, Ocean, who is 12, and Nova, who is 10, are outside with me, helping me with the chores. And chores start at 6:30 in the morning. I wake up around that 5 o'clock mark. In that time, I'm usually answering questions on YouTube, or I'm writing, or I'm reading. And then I go into prepping breakfast for my husband. Then he wakes up. I go outside with my 3 oldest children and we spend the next hour doing chores outside. And that's feeding the cows, the goats, the ducks, the geese, the guinea fowl, the chickens, the turkeys, the cats, the dogs, the pigs. So we're feeding all the outside animals. Then we come in and there is a chart on the board and it lists certain things. So if a child comes into the house earlier than what I do, because we are split into our chores, then they can go, okay, is the rabbit fed inside? Is the laundry looked at? I always liked if there is extra stuff in the dryer to be folded and ready. Is the breakfast table set? The cat litter needs to get done. All the cat waterers need to get refilled. Now you're going, well, why is all this cat stuff? It's because we cat board. So on top of all this, I also run a full-time cat boarding business within our house. And if you've seen on many previous YouTube videos, we have all these ledges in the background, and it's because we can have from anywhere from 6 to 38 cats in the house, depending on the time of season. Now with COVID, it has changed how people are booking. We're definitely not near as busy as we used to, but we still have cats in the house. The children are responsible for exchanging the cat waters every single morning, whether they're full or not, around the house, because cats like fresh water, and we make sure that all the dishes are clean. I then come back in the house. I'm usually a little bit behind everybody else, and I start feeding all the cats, and that is kibble and soft food. So once that is all complete, we check the board again. Is everything done? And if everything's done, one person will start frying eggs for breakfast. We'll start getting the table set. I'll start toasting bread and so forth and so on with prep. This is the time when I usually put a roast in or some kind of meat dish into the slow cooker, so I don't have to worry about meat preparation, and everything's done for supper time. So mornings are very busy, and we work as a team. It doesn't work if we don't do it as a team. And halfway through this, Meadow here would wake up. So will my other 2. That is Grace, who is 9, and Annika, who is 7. Meadow here is 2. So they start to wake up and they also jump on board and help. Now Meadow doesn't really help have her own set of chores at all. She helps one of the older ones. So she still helps, but by carrying a dish or something like that. But my kids know what I expect of them, and that's why I put the chore list on, because any one of them, minus Meadow here, can do the chores. So they know, hey, this, and this, and this need to get done. And I think that's really important, whether you're homeschooling or not, is to make sure that your kids know what you expect of them. So when that is all done, we sit down and enjoy our breakfast. And we usually have 45 minutes to sit down, chat, have a good breakfast, because you can't do schooling on an empty belly. And breakfast wraps up at 9 a.m. So it's time for homeschooling. And normally my kids would help me clear the table and do the dishes, sweep and all that. But when we are homeschooling from Monday to Friday, they don't have to help me do that. I do it all myself, because the top priority is schooling. And this part is really important, because I correct their books every single night. And what I want them to do right away after we eat breakfast is grab their books and start on corrections. So they're doing corrections in math, language arts, reading. Those are the top 3 things that they're doing corrections on. And while I'm doing the dishes and wiping down the table and clearing the table and sweeping, in that time they're doing their corrections. So when I am finished everything in the kitchen and I get ready to go through every child's correction. So this is the time when every child gets to have me for themselves for a little while. And I found this technique to work really, really good, especially now that I have a couple of children in grade 8, a child in grade 6, another one in grade 4, another one in grade 2. And with Meadow is that I use my living room where I am now and I call out a child's name. I ask them, are you done your corrections? If they say no, I move to somebody else. If they say yes, then they come into the living room. We sit down and we go through all their corrections from the day before. Because if you don't do that, then what happens is that they won't know what they're doing wrong. So if you're not looking at their work and keeping on top of things, they'll start making compound mistakes that you don't want. And it's way easier to correct them right away and to lead them on the proper direction than it is to, let's say, mark once a week. I mark every single evening, and that way a mistake is found instantly and can be corrected before the habit of that mistake is created. And so this is the time where we open the books, we go through maybe a problem they have, maybe a problem they messed up on, or they're not understanding a concept. We'll go over that. And I will also go through that day's teaching. Now, I use Christian Light Education, and I really like their program because one, it's from kindergarten all the way to grade 12, and two, it really pushes the children to independence. The teaching that happens in the book is for them to understand and for me to be the guide. And I really like that because by the time they're grade 3, grade 4 level, they're used to how the books are laid out and they're used to the teaching, and 90% of the time they can teach themselves it, and I just make sure that they understand what they have read. So by the time they are in grade 8, like Orion and Ocean are right now, they are mostly independent while I am the guide. I oversee and make sure that they're doing the work, they're understanding, but I don't have to sit there and teach them every single concept or sit right beside them like I have to do with grades 1 and 2. Even by grade 2, Annika is already independent. She understands probably 60% of what she is reading in the teaching boxes in the light units. So that is a huge advantage, and one that I really, really like with their program. All the links to the programs that I'm using will be in the description box below. So this time in the morning where I'm calling each child separately takes me to lunchtime till noon. So by basically 9:30 till just before noon, I'm literally going through every child to make sure they have that one-on-one with mom. You know, they don't have to ask the questions in front of everybody. They just have me, and that is something really special, and they really like that particular way I teach. Now, when my children were young, now Meadow is 2 here, but I started to homeschool when they were 4, so teaching them the ABCs and counting. But when they were young, when I had 3 of the children, you know, between grades 1 to 3, I had them at the kitchen table teaching them at the same time, and I found that worked. But as they got older, they needed to focus more. They were focusing more on me teaching somebody else than themselves. So what I did was separate everybody. And when I separated everybody, I found that they could focus better. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the house and I'm going to show you where everybody is working. Maybe it'll help you give ideas. It doesn't have to be a crazy setup. It can be as simple as just a little desk. And so what we did was, we don't have a crazy big house. There are 4 bedrooms in our house, 2 in a finished attic upstairs, and 2 on the main floor. We have 3 of our girls in 1 bedroom. On the main floor, our son has his own room. We have 2 girls in an upstairs room right across from our room. And we have basically used all those rooms. We made sure that there was a desk for one person to work, and that includes my room. I have one of my children in my room also working. And then I have a desk in the living room here, which Annika works at. And that way everybody is separated, has their own little working area, and I find that to work the best for my family. So let's go check it out and see where everybody's working. Okay, so this is our living room right here. And I'm just gonna kind of show you the room. We have our little rabbit in the corner, our couch here, and we have this bookshelf holds a lot of Meadows books, but it also holds the cookbooks and such like that. And we just did a full circle. This is our kitchen table right here. You'll notice that there is coloring here, and Meadow loves to color, so we provide an area for her to go onto the bench and color, keep her busy. The other thing is, this is her room to play while I help homeschooling, so she loves to build. We provide her with Mega Blocks, some other toys here. You can see them. She has access to these 3 drawers. They have got toys in them as well. So just to keep her busy. The other thing is, she likes to be with people. So instead of going, hey, you gotta work, you gotta play in this room because maybe, you know, the noise level goes up. I don't like doing that. I like to have her be with us, and I work with her. So we do corrections and everything in this living room, and she plays just among us, or she sits on my lap and listens. That's good. Then, yeah, then she's not excluded. And I feel that that's really important for her to know that she's just as important as everybody else. So over here we have Annika. So Annika, why don't you say hi to everybody? Hi. And you are working on your math, aren't you? Yes. So she's working here on her math book, and again, she's going through and reading and doing as much as she can until I help her. If she needs any help, I'll definitely make sure she's understanding. She's working at the living room desk. This computer here is for the kids, and I like it in the living room because I can constantly be around and monitor, but this is your particular station, isn't it? Why, hello, Orion. Oh. So we are in his bedroom right here, and what we have is just a loft bed. So he sleeps on top, and he has a workstation underneath his bed. So Orion, what are you working on right now? You're working on math? Yeah. Okay, so same thing goes with him. He has a math book, and can you flip a few lessons back there, buddy, just to show them how I mark your math? Okay, so here it's simple marking. I definitely use red pen. They can see it better. I circle what is wrong. Here, this equation particular was wrong. I had circled it, but this line here was right. So I showed him with a check mark that, hey, you got this right, but your overall answer is wrong. So it gives some guidance on where he made the mistake. Same with here. He was making the same mistake. He got this part right, but the final answer wrong. So it just kind of helps him when he's doing his correction, going, okay, did I really mess up everything or not? The other thing that I like to do is making notes. So they're really going into algebra right now. And here I put recalculate B and check signs. So he obviously added up the variable b wrong, and he messed up on some of the integer signs. So it gives him an idea, hey, check this out, you're doing something wrong. And do you find that really helpful, Orion, when I do that?
Yes.
Yes? Why?
Because then I can figure out what's wrong and then I can see how to fix it.
That's right. So it gives you a little guidance, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And what is my favorite thing to do when you guys forget your units? What do I write?
Monkeys.
Monkeys. And you might be going, okay, why monkeys? Well, I don't know. It's been like that for years. So if they forget their units, so a centimeter or meter or square or whatever they're doing, I just write monkeys. It's run right where monkeys, because that means like, what is it? What are you adding up? Anyway, so they start understanding how I mark. So the other thing is we provide them with calculators and a geometry set, and you have your reader, you have everything you need here, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, Orion, well, I'll let you keep on working, okay, buddy?
Yeah.
Hello, Grace.
Hello.
Okay, so just keep on working for a second here. So this is where Meadow sleeps on the bottom bunk here, and then Annika sleeps on the top bunk here, and Grace sleeps up here. And again, this bed is designed so she can sleep on top. She has some stairs here. It has a built-in closet and everything for storage, but it also has a desk. And we installed some lights here so it's nice and bright. And she is working on her math as well. This is first thing in the morning, and a lot of times my kids like to get their math out of the way, don't they, Grace?
Yes.
So what are you working on?
A story problem.
You're working on a story problem? So you're in grade 4, and how do you like the whole system of me calling you into the living room and asking you and going over the corrections? How do you like that system?
Really good, because then you can learn what you did wrong and then you can fix the mistakes and not do them again.
Do you like the one-on-one time, or would you rather everyone sit around the table and then I go through everything?
I like the one-on-one time better.
Yeah, it's special, isn't it?
Yeah. Go.
And then I can focus just on your stuff, eh?
Go.
Yes, Meadow, that's a book.
Yeah.
I think you guys pick up more that way too, don't you? Mm-hmm. Because it's one-on-one, and you can just ask me questions as I'm teaching you, and it really, really helps, doesn't it? Yes. And this really works to have separate desks. The other thing is we also have some books up here. We got some science books. We have some childcraft books. We have some how to draw books. And she has a desk here to work without distractions. Okay, Annika, Meadow, you show me where Nova is. Is she up? So we're gonna go and head upstairs, and we're gonna follow our little tour guide. Keep going, Meadow. So Nova, you are in my room, aren't you?
Yes.
So she gets to work on my desk that I like to type on. And what I do is I clear this desk from Monday to Friday to make sure that she has the available space to work. So what are you working on?
I'm working on reading.
Oh, you're working on reading. Have you done your math yet?
I finished language arts and math.
Oh, you are being Miss Speedy, aren't you, today? Okay, so she's working on her reading, and so with reading they get supplied with a reader to their grade, and then they learn about stories and answer questions. So Nova, I got a question for you. Mm-hmm. In your opinion, do you have anything to tell a homeschooling parent that wants to homeschool their children, any advice for that parent that you think is important?
Well, I think patience is a very important thing in homeschooling.
Oh, that's a very good thing. Lots of patience, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a very, very, very good thing. And sometimes that's not as easy as it sounds, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is true. You've got to have patience. Whether you're the student or whether I'm the teacher, we have to have patience, right?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, off to work you go. Thank you, Nova.
You're welcome.
Ocean and Nova's room. So again, their room is set up. They've got bunk beds up here, and we have Ocean working. Now, Ocean, what are you working on?
Math.
You're working on math too. And do you like the setup we have for schooling, and why do you like it?
I like it because I can be alone and concentrate on what I'm doing instead of having all sorts of other noise and stuff. And I like the way everything is quiet and in order and everything.
Okay. What do you like so much about me calling you down for corrections? That particular system. What do you like about that?
No one's just asking for corrections. It's orderly. There's no kerfuffle about who's doing corrections and who's not.
Okay, so structure is really important, isn't it? And order, and you know what to expect, don't you?
Yeah.
Right away when I call Ocean, she knows what I want. I don't have to say, hey, Ocean, it's time for corrections, gather all your books, do I?
No.
I say, Ocean, she knows I need to bring all my books, we're going through corrections, and she's downstairs. She knows that you need to stop what you're doing. And we'll fix it. And that's, again, really important, is that the child knows what's going on, what I expect of them, and keeping the same routine. If I would change it up every day, it would become really confusing, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So even though it may sound boring that, hey, this is what happens on Monday to Friday, it creates structure and it doesn't create mayhem. So, Ocean, I will leave you alone. Continue working. You're doing an awesome job.
Thank you.
With closing here, some of the best advice that I can give you is to listen to your children. A lot of times at the beginning of every new school year, about a month before, I will sit down with all my children and I will say, hey, we're starting a new school year. Is there any changes that you want me to make when I'm homeschooling you? Or is there something that's not working? Is there some idea that we can improve upon? And I listen to my children. So it's really important to listen to your children and what they have to say. The other thing is to be patient, be kind, be slow to anger, and most of all, love them. Even if they got a whole page wrong, go through it. See what they did. Remember that yes, you are the mother, you are also the teacher. I'm going to leave you with some final notes here, and I'm going to read a little bit out of the brand new book that's out, Handy Tips for Homeschooling Parents, written by winged publication authors like myself. And I'm going to read a few paragraphs, a little bit of mine. Reflections of a 21st Century Mother Currently Homeschooling Her Children by Rita Peterson. When I heard parents were homeschooling their children, I used to cringe. I thought they were completely out of their minds to take on such a task. You see, homeschooling wasn't what I grew up with, so I mocked the idea. At that time, I thought children who were homeschooled were at a disadvantage compared to children going to public school. Fast forward to now, I'm a homeschooling mom of 6 children who has learned a lot over the years. I never considered myself to be a teacher. In fact, I have some stumbling blocks that would certainly not make me the teacher of choice. I struggle big time with mathematics and language arts, the main 2 subjects that are the backbone of education. If you can't do math, then chemistry and physics are complicated to understand. And if you struggle in language arts, how do you teach others when you can't even figure it out yourself? To say the least, my self-confidence to teach wasn't there. To understand me better and to really hear what I have learned and discovered about homeschooling, you need to know my past. And so I continue to go on and I dive into my past, what happened to me in school, and how I became a confident homeschooling mom. So in closing, I would like to say that the new book, Handy Tips for Homeschooling Parents, is out on Amazon. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to read the table of contents to you to give you an idea the subjects that are talked about within this book. So in the table of contents, the very first submission is called Unrealistic Expectations. And that is really important because a lot of times as homeschooling parents, we have all these high expectations, but we got to come back down to reality and what is doable. So stay at your level. Don't go way out there and, try to be super mom. Just stay with the basics. Be realistic with what you can do. The next one is Homeschooling 101, and she goes into what she found to be helpful with homeschooling. Then you have mine is called Reflections of a 21st Century Mother Currently Homeschooling Her Children. And I go through my entire curriculum, my entire day, what I went through in the past, how I was raised, what I thought about homeschoolers. I go through everything. I got it all. This is the first time where you can actually read everything that I do on paper. So this was a really, really hard thing to write, to get it all together, but I really dive into detail with how I truly feel about homeschooling, what my stumbling blocks were, what I felt as a parent with no confidence in myself as a teacher to take on the task of homeschooling my own children. Then we have Mindset Matters, and that is absolutely true as well. You got to have your mind ready for homeschooling. Staying organized. Definitely, you have to have some kind of organization in order to succeed in homeschooling. Another submission is called The Powers of Priorities, and this is really important because when I am trying to schedule something, I keep it for the weekend. If I have to schedule appointments, I try to schedule them later on in the day so we're done homeschooling. So priority is homeschooling, everything else gets done after that. So when you make homeschooling your top priority, guess what? Then it gets done. If it's not your top priority, then you keep pushing it away. Oh, we'll do it tomorrow. Oh, we'll do it tomorrow. Oh, next week. And it never gets done. So you really, really got to learn how to prioritize. So she has a great article about that. Then we have an article called Homeschooling by Happenstance. So sometimes you are just thrown into homeschooling like you are with COVID-19 and you're going, what now? And the last submission is from the classroom to your living room. So all of these submissions really complement each other. Really want to empower you to be a successful homeschooling parent. And you can do it. No matter what your stumbling block is, you do not need to be you do not need to have a degree in teaching in order to teach. And don't be afraid to be corrected. Don't be afraid that your child goes, hey mom, it should have been this, or hey dad, it should have been this. Moms and dads make great teachers. And the best advice overall is just do it. And if you make some wrong mistake, backtrack and fix it. It's okay to make a mistake. And it's really good for your kids to see how you react when you make a mistake and how you fix the mistake. And actually you're teaching them right there the morals and values they need to live. So homeschooling is a journey. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, but you can do it. So enjoy your journey with homeschooling and comment below if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer them. And thank you so much for watching this video, and we'll see you on the next one.